Hello and welcome back to another video. I am going to be doing a sketchbook tour for this video. If you've been following me for a while, you may have seen my last sketchbook tour, which was actually my first ever sketchbook completed. I have that artist's habit of starting a sketchbook and getting either bored with it or seeing a new sketchbook and starting a new one. There's that thrill of starting a new sketchbook that I really enjoy, and I struggle to finish them. But as you can see here, this sketchbook here that I did my last sketchbook tour for was 2016 to 2017, and I think I finished it at the end of 2017 and then purchased this sketchbook, which is 2018 to current day 2020. So I'll do a quick run through of this sketchbook. It's a Moleskine sketchbook and I love it. It is it's kind of got a cream kind of texture, not that page, cream coloured paper. It's quite smooth. I'll zoom in here. So I'll do a quick sketchbook tour of this that I have already done a tour of. Literally a quick flip through. I really loved this sketchbook. I loved everything that I did in it. There's fan art, there's original art, there's mandalas, doodles, sketches, ink work when I was doing all my scroller boxes, which you will actually see soon again. I've resubscribed to scroller box, so you will see those soon. These are using the supplies, so this was me planning out artwork or using the supplies to test them. Travel, kind of a bit of a travel diary, so things from like Copenhagen when I went there, pubs, more doodles, fan art, etc, etc, etc. And like I say, this was a great sketchbook. I loved every minute of working on it, and think everything I've done in it I'm quite pleased with. Wordles, everything from lino prints, etc, 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 comics, blah 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 blah. So I won't go into too much detail, but that's that sketchbook, and like I say, finished that in 2017, the end of 2017. So that was my first ever sketchbook I filled. Now, I loved that sketchbook so much that I wanted to buy another Moleskine. Now, for those of you that have seen Moleskines, you know that they can be quite expensive. I think I got this one from Waterstones for just close to £12 to £13, and at the time I remember thinking it's quite expensive, but it's worth a one-off buy. So I thought, for my next sketchbook, I'll go on eBay, see if I can get another Moleskine for cheaper. And I did get one for cheaper. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it was definitely cheaper. But to the untrained eye, it looks the same, but it is definitely not the same. And I did not realise this until I started using it. There's subtle differences. The texture, this is a bit more leatherier, if that's a word. This is more plastic. It's, as you can see, it bends really easy. It's just not very nice. The elastic's even a poor quality. So although it says Moleskine, it came with bits of Moleskine. It looked exactly the same. It is definitely not. The paper is white rather than a creamy colour, and it almost has a bit of a waterproof quality about it. So when I'm using paints on it, it doesn't quite soak in like this one did. And I swiftly became very unfond of this sketchbook, and it has been a long time, 2 years. This one took a year to complete, this took 2 years to complete, and I think it was just due to it not feeling the same as this, and I'm not enjoying it. So it took me a long time to get into this. It's probably like half a year space in between the middle of this sketchbook where I just gave up on it. But then I thought, I can't stop now, I need to complete this series, and I'll show you what I've done. So, let me split. There are a few things in here, like some written stuff that I've paperclipped just because I don't really want to show those bits, nothing personal or anything, just prefer to keep those separate to this, keep it a bit more art-based. So as you can see, I started off with a bit of a study of me just sat down, pride, blah blah blah, and I immediately didn't like it. The reason these are black is because I've done something on them, hated it, covered it in black ink just so I could cover what I didn't like, and that's not exactly a great start for your first 2 pages. But anyway, moving forward, I did a mandala, which I quite like, don't mind that, a little sketch. Then I think I got it wet, which bled some of this black right through to a few pages, which was not ideal. Then this was on a trip out to an RSPB nature reserve where I just studied a bit of the bird and wildlife there, so a bit of sketches, nothing too just nice. Like this sketchbook definitely this one started just way more interesting. Then it moved on a bit. I went camping in Scotland by myself for a few days. There was an art vlog quite a while ago where I sat next to a lock and did some sketching, so of the cafe / boathouse, and then just these little people that I think I saw an artist and it inspired me because they did like characters out of fruit and veg, so that inspired me to do those. Really enjoyed that. And the sketchbook was back off to a good start. I think the time between these first pages and this was probably, I don't have dates on them, but it probably spanned a few months for sure. Then moved on to more. That's the view from the campsite where I was camping in Scotland. I did this again. I saw a picture of a shark, just copied it, made it a bit interesting. Then I was asked to do some tattoo designs. I never actually completed this. Life got in the way, but that's a tattoo design for someone that I never finished. Then I did my own tattoo design, which I am holding on to do in the future. This is refined on another piece of paper. But all in all, nothing I'm really happy about to have in this sketchbook, to be honest. Again, more tattoo designs to do with my rugby team. I did a mandala with, I think I got a new set of pencils for Christmas. And I did a mandala using all the colours. This is a sketch of my girlfriend's old apartment kitchen. Really plucking at straws. I was trying to be artistic in this and taking it with me on travels, and it just really wasn't coming to me. I was struggling to do things. Again, just a really simple doodle. This is again black. You'll see a theme here. Anything black is basically covering something up. You won't be able to see that on camera, but there's like I can see engraves of some drawing there that I've obviously disliked and covered up. A tree doodle. I do have a sketchbook dedicated to ballpoint pen nature doodles, so that is something I want to keep working on and hopefully will be a sketchbook tour in the future. This is a Wordle about dust. That's how much I'm clutching at straws. And then this is a sketch of my girlfriend here. And again, I start moving into really enjoying the sketchbook again, albeit more for sketching and inking. This is some sketches out of an art book for Mass Effect, I believe. This was another scroller box, supplies that I got and just really enjoyed the colours. This was a space filler, as you can see, quick last minute space filler. This is a sketch of a friend's dog whilst I was on a plane, I think it was. Then this is where it gets really nice and I'm really enjoying it again. If you follow me on Instagram, I did post a picture of this, in fact both of them. So this is when I went to Berlin with my rugby team on the left. That's next to the concentration camp there. I remember that quite vividly. And this is in Vondel Park in Amsterdam. Sat next to the canal and did a quick painting. It was drawing. It was very cold that day and my fingers were freezing, but I trundled through. This is I got commissioned to do a book cover where it was someone kind of using their hands to control some matter, some like, I don't know, metal or just matter in general, I don't remember what it was. Did some sketches. I actually mocked up the full front cover on my iPad and they just completely ignored me. I think that was my inexperience of not asking for part of my payment, etc., and that kind of blew up in my face, so that's not exactly a happy memory page. This is actually a replica of part of an artwork I saw in a local village hall that near where my mum lives in the north of Yorkshire, and I just loved the look of it and I just wanted to replicate that, and I did that out on the go whilst I was shopping and waiting for something to happen. This is Brighton Pier. Nothing really much to say that. I did that in watercolours, but as you can see there's like a grainy kind of texture to the paint, and it's because it's just not soaking into this paper very well and just not really giving me the feel I wanted. This is based off, as most of you might have seen, about there's kind of these pet portraits going on where you put your pet in regal clothing, and so I kind of I found some regal clothing and put my cat Freddie in there, just a quick sketch, because I might replicate this maybe with a different clothing, etc. in the future, but I thought it was quite a funny thing to do. Again, in watercolours. I think these are done with Winsor & Newton watercolours. This was done probably with Winsor & Newton as well, or my Viviva colour sheets. Again, another trend you will see is that I've completed some artwork on 2 pages and hated both pages, so I've stuck it together. I think this was me testing some paints out and I really disliked it, so I stuck it together. This is some sketches. This was to work on a video that you will see soon. Just some sketches of my cat and some studies of the cat, which I quite like this. And from this point onwards, I really enjoyed the sketchbook. It was me filling it, and it's literally taken me during lockdown to finish the rest of the sketchbook. That's how long this part of the sketchbook took me, probably a year and a half, and then within 2 months I finished this part. But yeah, as you can see, there are ripped out pages, and I'm not usually one for, if I dislike a piece of artwork, rip it out, because I want to show that that's my progress, that's me doing less desirable things in my sketchbook. But I hated this sketchbook so much, and I can't stress enough that I hated it. And so that's how much I did, was just because I'm sticking pages together, I'm ripping them out, I'm covering them up. It's just an ongoing trend in this sketchbook. This I really liked. I got my FW inks out and a pipette, and I was kind of sucking up the ink and then squirting it on the page so it's splattered, which I love the effect. It's gone all over to this page, and I love the colours. The problem with this was I did not anticipate the amount this would soak through the paper, and this, and I'm not kidding, went through to this page here, and that might look like 3 pages, but these are all stuck together pages. So that's gone through 6 pages, 7 pages, and there's ripped out pages, so it went through many pages, and I regretted doing it after this. And in the future I will put something in between my pages. I need to remember to do that, really. So then, as you can see, stuck 2 pages together on that side, and then I covered them in black to cover up the ink leakage. And then I used my Sakura Jelly Roll and a Pigment white liner to do this. So this is a tree outside my window, because I'm currently working in my art room, doing my actual job. And this is what I can see out the window, so when I'm doodling I kind of drew that, and a mushroom which I make out of clay. And then this, I don't know if it's quite faint, I used my Polychromos Faber-Castell pencil crayons to do this. It's just a really macro shot of a bee, with its legs coming out here, its eyes and its fuzzy hair going around it. And then stuck together these 2 pages I'm not happy with, but I wanted to leave something in here where I could reflect upon it and think, this is not my style, or this is something I want to improve on. So this, I was testing out my Viviva watercolours, just doing some abstract sort of art, and then I used, I can't remember the brand, but some gold watercolours and some silvers, and put that on there. I just wanted something a bit more abstract, and it's nice, it's not something I enjoy doing, really. And again, this is a sketch of outside my window, so this is the top of that tree that's here, and yeah, it's okay, it's not special, but I used my, I think it's a Derwent pencil, where you can add water to spread it, and again, as you can see, the paper's just not absorbing that water properly. It's not making a smooth finish on the artwork, so that's again just not something I'm very happy with, and that colour coming through there as well. This is another page that's stuck together, and then I really hunkered down, and this was literally over a couple of days I filled the rest of the sketchbook. So this is Winsor & Newton pigment markers. I bought these, God, a few years ago now, and you'll see one of my hauls. They're included in a long ago haul, and I just never used them. I tested them out. They didn't blend like Copic markers because they're not alcohol markers. I think they're a type of paint marker, I'm not really sure, and they just don't react how I'm used to when you're working with a marker. So I kind of wanted to test them out properly, do a piece of artwork. So I did this dog, which I am actually really, really pleased with, and I love the style I did it in. And this might be something you'll see reoccurring in the future. And then I kind of cut that out, which I quite like in there. I think it's quite a nice little page, that. And then on the other side, I'm rediscovering my alcohol markers. It's been a very long time since I've used them, and I dug out a nature book that I have about all different animals and decided to replicate some of these animals, and my first one is the penguin. And then I completely forgot how much alcohol markers and Copic markers go through the paper. So I went through, fine, I noticed it had gone through and thought, oh, I'll just go over the top of this side. Completely, I don't know how, not thinking it'll go through to the other side. So I started again, the head came through here, I tried covering it up for some reason, don't know why I didn't leave it. A little bit of it went through the page, which I'm a bit annoyed at because I really enjoyed the look of these penguins. I think they look really 3D and really realistic, and annoyingly it went through. So once I'd realised my error, I actually used my Polychromos Faber-Castell pencils again for this side and continued with the Copic markers on this side. So that's a swallow there, which I really like on that double page spread. It would have been nice to do the whole thing in Copics because I think I really captured the colours here. Then I learnt from my mistake and I left this page completely, and I did a Flamingo, again Copic markers, like I say, rediscovering them, loving them again, so I really clung on to using them. Again, left that page just how it is, and I quite like the look of this going through. I think it looked really nice. I did a stag, and I quite like how I've gone over to this page. I like odd things like that where it doesn't just stay on one page. Again, left that, which I quite like. I like the way that looks. And then on here, I did something, covered it up, and then, I don't know if you can see that, there are mountains here that I've done in white Polychromos pencil, then used my white gel pen to make birds flying across the top of it. It's very faint, you won't see it because of my light, I don't think, but it is just a page filler really, it's not my favourite. Then again, more Copic marker work. There was a lot of smudges and stuff up here, tried to cover them up, probably shouldn't have, should have just left them, but just a hippopotamus. This was actually quite hard to do. There was a lot of, excuse me, there was a lot of kind of bends and grooves and textures to the skin of the hippopotamus that, because I'm doing it at such a big scale, I needed to replicate as closely as possible. But I quite like the look of that, I think it turned out quite nice. Here, left that there as usual, covered this with some map paper I have, which I often do art on, and then used some Derwent paint pens, which are not my favourite again, to create this palm tree going over it, just something subtle, again a page filler, because again I was coming towards my end of my tether with this sketchbook, and just trying out new supplies that I've forgotten about that I've got in my storage really. Then on here, did something, covered it up, same trend, did a mandala with my jelly rolls, Sakura jelly rolls, which I quite like. I didn't go overboard with this one, and I think I like the simplicity of it. Just an octopus tentacle, nothing spectacular. Probably should have done something up here, but I didn't. Again, left that there. Then my mum sent me this beautiful photo of this vine that she's growing, and it's just radiates light from its centre, and I wanted to replicate it, and that's that. Copic markers and a bit of those Derwent paint pens again just over the top, just to add a bit of texture and depth. And as you can see, that the thing I mentioned at the start where the water had hit the edge of my sketchbook has gone all the way through to the back page. It's funnily enough. Again, left that page, just a pretty rainbow for the quarantine there, just to signify that. And then lastly, this is a comic about my distaste and disdain, whatever the words are, for this sketchbook. It's me sketching in it, me tearing, I don't know if you can see that very well, me tearing a page out, the page is all crumpled up and torn out here, me screaming, the end. And that's the end of that sketchbook. So basically, I think the moral of this story, the moral of this video is My next sketchbook is 100% going to be a proper Moleskine. I will even buy it from the store, I think, and I urge anyone who's going to get one of these Moleskines to get a proper one. The knockoff versions are just not up to scratch, and I will definitely not be buying one of these again. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed a bit of probably more commentary than you're used to if you watch my videos on my channel. But thank you very much for watching. If you liked this, I'm sure I will be getting some more sketchbooks done. I'm in a bit of a roll with sketching at the moment within this quarantine. So give me a subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you.